This is Rua Kēnana, a Maori prophet who defied the New Zealand government and paid the price. Rua Kēnana wasn't born into power. He was born into a world where Maori land was being stripped away, communities were shattered by colonization, and leaders who resisted were either killed, silenced, or imprisoned. But Rua had a vision, a prophecy. He declared himself the spiritual successor to Te Kuti, a feared Maori leader and freedom fighter of the 19th century. Rua believed he was divinely chosen to guide his people into a new era, one of peace, spiritual revival, and total independence from colonial rule. And so, he led his followers deep into the heart of the Urewera Mountains and built a settlement called New Jerusalem, or Maungapōhatu. Far away from colonial towns, courts, and churches, it was more than a village. It was a symbol of Maori sovereignty, self-sufficient, spiritually driven, and proudly defiant. Rua preached a unique blend of Christianity and Maori beliefs. He banned alcohol, promoted communal living, and even created his own laws. But the Crown? They weren't watching peacefully. They were watching nervously. Then came World War I. While thousands of Maori men were encouraged, even pressured, to enlist for the British Empire, Rua stood firm. He refused to send his people to die in a war that wasn't theirs. He told them, "This is not our war. Our fight is here for our land, for our people." That's when the government made its move. On April 2nd, 1916, 70 armed policemen, yes, 70, were sent into the mountains to arrest one man. They claimed he had skipped a court summons over a minor alcohol charge, but everyone knew that wasn't the real reason. This was about power, control, making an example. They reached Maungapōhatu like an invading army. Guns drawn, tension high. What happened next was chaos. Shots rang out. In the confusion, Rua's son, Toko, was shot and killed, unarmed and in front of his family. Rua was captured, humiliated, and marched out in chains. His people were left shaken, their spiritual leader taken, their sacred land violated. Rua would spend months behind bars. He was put on trial for sedition, accused of undermining the government, stirring rebellion, and leading his people astray. But after an expensive, dragged-out court case, he was acquitted of the major charges. Still, they sentenced him anyway for resisting arrest. It wasn't justice. It was punishment. After his release, Rua never regained the power he once held. Maungapōhatu declined. The dream faded. For decades, New Zealand swept this dark chapter under the rug. No school books mention the raid. No government official dared apologize. Until 2019, over 100 years later, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern stood before Rua's descendants and offered an official apology. She called the raid an abuse of power, brutal, unjust, and racially motivated. It was a long overdue reckoning with a past the country had tried to forget. Rua Kēnana wasn't a criminal. He was a leader, a prophet, a man who dared to imagine a future free from colonial chains. And for that, he was hunted,